Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA and we are in Toronto, Canada today. We're hitting up one of the most iconic, spots in all of Canada, in all of Toronto. Nope, not the CN Tower, although we tried to go there today, but weather didn't really permit, so maybe tomorrow. But we're at, in my mind, possibly the most iconic spot in not only all of Toronto, but all of Canada, the famous and legendary Barberian Steakhouse. Now, Toronto is actually a great steak scene. You know, this channel was kind of based in that New York area, so in New York, there's tons of great steakhouses, but Toronto's actually pretty good too, and everyone says it's between this place, Barberian, and Jacob & Co. Everyone says it's between those two places, both in Toronto, as the best steakhouse in Canada. Honestly, I got pretty high standards. I mean, New York has so many iconic steak spots, such a great steak town. Best steakhouse in Canada, I'm gonna hold it to a high standard. Canada being the first country ever to defeat America in a war of 1812. Yes, look it up. So I got high hopes for this spot. Will Toronto hold a candle to New York? Will Canada hold a candle to the USNA? The pride of two nations is on the line, and Canada, time to rep your stuff, so let's check it out.
Just one moment, please. Thank you. So you got that burger, fashion, gin, highball.
Now, before we continue with the rest of the review, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, Aura. Now, I've mentioned this before on this channel, but I feel like the world is just becoming more and more sus every single day. It just seems like everyone is trying to get your data now and put it up for sale, and once those data brokers sell your data, you're exposed to so much unwanted advertising. Telemarketing, most of whom are not even real people these days, scams, spams, it's annoying as heck. We live in some tricky times, but Aura can help. Aura offers a variety of ways to keep your data safe. They have a VPN, a password manager, antivirus and malware tools, but what I find really neat is their data broker notification section. They notify you of data brokers who have your information. Before using Aura, I had no idea that all these data brokers had my information, and they make it super easy to be opted out of these. This keeps your data from floating around online and also reduces your likelihood of getting those annoying scam calls and emails. Visit aura.com/UAEats to try Aura for 2 weeks for free. That alone is enough time to see if your personal data is exposed online. And now, back to our video. All right, guys, so we are now inside Barberian Steakhouse, and yeah, it's funny because it's these steakhouses are very posh, but when you have a name like Barberian, it makes it sound like the opposite. But that's just what makes it a more interesting name, if you ask me. Did any of you guys used to play Diablo 2 back in the day? Also, whenever I say Barberian Steakhouse, it makes me think Barberian Steakhouse. You know, I'm more of a sorceress or a paladin guy. Let me know if you get the reference in the comments. But yeah, this place has a really, really cool vibe. It's rather dark. You know, I was able to walk in and this is a must-reserve place, but they say for 1 or 2 people, it's usually pretty easy to walk in. But because of that, I didn't really have my pick in terms of seating, so they gave me a spot that they said was probably better for lighting, but the well-lit spots are all reserved, so you know, I'll do my best, and hopefully the lighting's not too bad. You know, just bear with me here. Let me show you the menu real quick, and this place has a really cool vibe. It kind of reminds me of like Keen's Steakhouse in a way, like the dark atmosphere and also like kind of like the 1800s feel to it. So it kind of reminds me of Keen's, like a Canadian Keen's, so very cool. Anyways, let's take a look at the menu. And yeah, even their paper menu is very, you know, 1800s looking, like very, you know, Wild West, Red Dead Redemption and feel. Oh, it says we accept cash. You know, some places they say we only accept cash, but the way they wrote it makes it seem like that's like an option, as opposed to something that they're, you know, forcing on me. And just like your typical steakhouse, they got a ton of apps that all look really, really good. Escargot though looks really nice, and I think I also saw French onion soup at the bottom. I really want to get escargot for 26 bucks, although keep in mind that's Canadian dollars, so take about 70–75% of that. I used to really like escargot. I'm not sure if I can still eat them now because I do have a shellfish allergy, and recently they told me that clams are a no-go, so I don't know if that's close enough, but better not take a risk. we'll decide appetizer later, but show you some more of their sides and accompaniments. You know, typical stuff, mashed potatoes, cream spinach, you know, all that jazz. And then let's zero in on this steak section. Now, all these cuts, you know, this is what we want to zero in on, and keep in mind that while these prices might look high, these are Canadian dollars. So again, take like 70 or so % of everything. For example, New York strip, 12 ounces, 100 bucks, 98 bucks. That might sound like a lot, but keep in mind that's more like 70 US dollars for my American audience. And most of you guys are based in the US, I'm pretty sure. They got filet mignon, bone-in filet, and filet with bacon. Yeah, about 70 or so bucks. It's a little expensive. Usually though, when they call out something being dry aged, that implies that the other items are wet aged and not dry aged. So we gotta go with the best. So dry aged bone-in strip loin, New York strip, 20 ounces too, as opposed to 12 and 16 ounces. Yep, limited, 138 Canadian dollars. So let's just do it. I mean, we flew all the way to Toronto for this, so let's just do it. And they have rack of lamb, and they even have pastrami. Maybe if we enjoy this place, maybe we can come back for that pastrami. Not a huge menu. I think this is like almost perfectly sized. You know, it's often good when you have a limited menu because it means that they're, you know, not masters of none or jack of all trades. It means that they're specialists. So, is that Barberian? I think this place is named after someone named Barberian. Doesn't look like a Barberian to me. Kind of looks like a William Shakespeare. Anyways, let's order. Yeah, I think I'm ready. Yeah, sure. So do you still have this dry aged bone-in strip loin?
Yeah, we do.
That's the New York strip?
How do you like it prepared?
Medium rare.
Yes, sir.
And the other ones are wet aged? Is that what they are?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, then. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
And
it comes with a choice of fries or baked potato.
Oh, it comes with a side.
Yeah.
Fries or baked potato? Fries.
Fries, yeah.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Anything else with that, my friend? Or?
Yeah. Is there an appetizer you would recommend?
Shrimp cocktail is usually my favorite.
Oh, I can't eat shrimp.
Okay, then never mind.
I can eat.
Escargot, if you like.
I'm not sure if I can eat those. I used to be able to. I might be allergic to that now too. I'm not sure.
So let's not do that.
Yeah.
Maybe like a half a Caesar salad or something like that, or a wedge.
A wedge salad sounds perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect.
Full one or half? What do you think?
I'll do half.
Half, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome that the steak comes with fries here. I mean, in New York and most other big cities in the US, that's like unheard of. Wow, that makes me feel way better about the price. Good stuff. All right, so they brought over a free app. Usually at these steakhouses, at least in US and A, they give you bread. But in this case, these are pickled vegetables. So, and it looks like they have some ice cubes on top to keep them chilled too. So let's just dig in first. Let's try the carrot. And again, guys, apologies if it's kind of dark. You know, it's a dark restaurant. I already did my best trying to ask for a better spot. Ooh. Ooh. They were absolutely right to serve this with like ice cubes. The temperature of this is really the kicker. These have a delicious pickled brine flavor. Like the pickled flavor already tastes great, like nice and vinegary and delicious brine recipe here, but the temperature of keeping it cold, like the temperature that food is at, makes a big difference. That's why like expert sushi chefs, sorry, I suddenly became really quiet. That's why expert sushi chefs, part of it is that they don't spend too much time pressing the sushi so they don't warm it up too much with their hands. So in this case, you know how it's delicious to eat like some pickles in a jar straight out of the fridge? You know, you struggle to get that pickle jar open because it's, you know, really stuck on tight, and then, you know, each pickle tastes delicious and the coldness makes them almost taste more crisp and more, it makes the flavor almost more balanced and not too bitingly sour. Same concept with these pickles.
Half a wedge salad here for you, my friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Fresh pepper?
Yes, please. That's good, thank you. Our wedge salad is here. And this is even a half wedge salad, not a full wedge salad. It's already a pretty big portion. I mean, sometimes you order a full wedge salad back in New York and they'll give you something about this big or even less big than this. But at those steakhouses back in New York, usually they're not quite this busy. Usually it's more so a head of lettuce and some blue cheese, some dressing, and yeah, maybe some bacon and stuff like that. But usually it's much more simple than that. But this one, it's got so many ingredients. It's got like radish. It's got some, I think those are pickles, maybe pickled onions or something. Cut off a piece of this wedge salad. Looks very, very generously dressed. And let's give this a try. The dressing, I will say, is a little bit on the bland end. It doesn't really have a strong flavor. It's not funky enough. Like, it's kind of bland. It almost tastes like watered down a little bit. Like, you know, it's got some creaminess, but unfortunately, it doesn't have much rich flavor. It doesn't really have, you know, it's not heavy enough and it's not funky enough in that cheesy flavor. Like, it really just tastes like a watered down blue cheese, but then like something is added to thicken it, like flour or something. So yeah, I mean, while this might be refreshing, the flavor I think I've probably had better. So let's try another piece, and let's try it with some, you know, maybe some other ingredients added on. All right. I mean, the other ingredients definitely help. Like the radish adds some crunch. I believe those are pickled onions. You know, they also add like some more like pickled flavor. You know, it kind of makes up for like the dressing being a little bit more on the bland end. But this is surely just my take. But you know, I typically prefer things to be slightly more simple. Like, this has so many ingredients. You know, it almost feels kind of busy. Like, I typically like the wedge salads I've had back home where it was mostly the lettuce and the dressing and a few ingredients, you know, like some bacon and blue cheese crumble, like things carefully chosen to pair with it and to allow it to taste as good as possible with the fewest ingredients and the most straightforward flavor profile. This is kind of like busy, and it even kind of looks a little messy when you start to eat and cut into it. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it tastes refreshing and it tastes healthy and it's going to be a good balance for the steak later, but I would say this is not one of my favorite wedge salads, but still going to knock this out, get our vegetables in, our fiber, and wait for our steak, which hopefully will live up to the hype. Best steak in Canada? I sure hope so. Excellent.
Do you like horseradish for the steak?
Sure.
Yeah, what about some ketchup, vinegar, mayonnaise? What do you like for the fries?
Yeah, ketchup. Sounds good, thanks.
That on the side is okay, my friend?
Side is perfect.
How about some fresh pepper?
Yes.
Everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. That's good. Thank you. All right, horseradish for steak. Definitely interesting, so we'll try that. Honestly, guys, you know, I wish the lighting were better, but just trust me, this steak has just an incredible sear. Like, it looks like it just has like a perfect flat top sear across the whole thing. I wonder if they have it on both sides, but at least on one side is, you know, that's already impressive enough. That looks like a wonderful sear. It's awesome that they got fries to come with it too. 138 Canadian bucks, about 100 American bucks. So it's not cheap, but at least the steak is pretty big. Okay, let's just face it, it's not a cheap price at all, even with the fries. But hey, hopefully it's worth the price, or at least somewhat justifiable. Seriously, look at this incredible crust on this guy, perfect sear. I mean, it might not even be as dark as it looks. It might just be like an amazing blackened sear. So maybe the steak isn't, maybe the lighting's actually not as bad as I thought. So, ooh, and look at how tender this guy is. Let's cut right into it. Check the cook, why don't we? Let's take a look at the cook, and okay, I asked for medium rare. I think that's you know, it might be okay, although maybe a little bit more rare than medium rare, but that's okay because I don't mind a nice rare steak. It's within range, so good enough for me. Like, I don't mind it being slightly underdone. There are grill marks on the bottom, so hopefully that means it's grilled over charcoal or something. So infusing that smoky flavor into this steak. Oh man, it cuts really smoothly. I mean, this knife didn't look like much. You know, it's not the fanciest knife, but it cuts well. Or maybe the meat is just tender where it doesn't need much work. Let's dig in.
You got a gorgeous spice. You hit the jackpot.
So it's very tender. I'll give credit where it's due. Like, even with the bad lighting, hopefully you guys can see just how tender this steak is. Like, this is incredibly tender, this steak. Like, it's so soft, cuts so easily for that reason. But I mean, I paid like $100, well, with fries, but I paid like $100 for a dry aged steak. And to be honest, this doesn't taste dry aged at all. Like, the dry aged flavor is just really, really weak. And I know they didn't give me the wrong one because this is a bone-in steak. Like, I know they didn't give me the wrong one because the bone is right here. So this is a bone-in steak, but it's not really dry aged, or if it's dry aged, not for a long time. I mean, this has hardly any dry aged flavor. Like, it tastes wet aged, if I can be honest. Not that wet aged is necessarily bad, but typically you pay top dollar because you want dry aged. I mean, wet aged is gonna be a little bit cheaper. It is tender though. I will give them credit, they delivered an incredibly tender steak. Like, truly, this might be one of the most tender New York strips I've ever had in my whole life. Like, just look at how springy and tender that is. I could, like, you know, if you shrank me down to like an inch tall, I could bounce up and down on this like I'm in like a castle moon bounce house or something. But while it's tender, I mean, the aged flavor really is not very strong at all. The dry aged flavor specifically, and wet aged is okay. I mean, there are great steakhouses that do wet aging, like Delmonico's in New York, the oldest fine dining restaurant in America. Right now they do wet aged steaks, but the steaks have really great beef flavor, which really helps to, you know, balance it out in that way. But in this case, it is very soft, but the taste of it almost tastes like something I could get from like a grocery store. But let's try some of this horseradish that pairs with the steak. He said to go easy on this stuff, so yeah, hopefully that is not too much. Let's give it a try. All right. That horseradish is excellent. I'm a big fan of sushi, and whenever I eat sushi, people sometimes see me really load up on the wasabi and they really get shocked, but I love that flavor. He said to go easy on this, but I actually think that you need to add more of this stuff, because just like wasabi, this horseradish like shoots through your nose and really clears the sinuses. And it's a little cold in Canada today, so feeling the sniffles coming on. So this is like almost like healing my nose a little bit. Yeah, real pile this stuff on. It is great. The horseradish is great. By the way, it suddenly got really, really loud in here, so apologies if it's really loud in the background. That horseradish is great. I kind of wish they took like a layer of that horseradish and applied it across the whole steak. You know, if they ask you in advance if that's what you like. Because in this case, the steak needs something like that. Like, it's tender, but it's lacking in flavor, aged or beefy or otherwise. So something great like a steak sauce, or in this case, some amazing fresh horseradish, like where you're mostly using this as a blank slate to eat something else that's amazing, it really, really works out. But honestly, I paid $100 or 138 Canadian bucks for this steak, and I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't stand on its own without like a horseradish or some sort of steak sauce to lift it. So that's definitely a big disappointment. Anyways, let's review the fries, and it's getting a little loud, so let's review these fries, and then we'll share final thoughts outside after the fries. Those fries are excellent, man. These are definitely being cut from real potatoes. Definitely. They don't just taste like fries that are frozen, and you know, there are some really good frozen fries out there, so frozen fries are not necessarily a bad thing, but with how not homogeneous these fries are, you can tell that these are real French fries actually being cut from real potatoes due to how irregular they are, how deliciously starchy and like soft and pillowy they taste. Like they nailed the cook on them. They're like Five Guys fries, but probably better. Like they're not as greasy as Five Guys fries, while these fries are outstanding. Just look at this guy. There's no way a fry like this is being pre-frozen from like a bag, right? Let's try it with ketchup. I'm pretty sure this is just plain old Heinz ketchup. Sometimes at these really nice steakhouses, they make their own ketchup, but I don't think so in this case. Well, let's just try it, I guess. Yep, that's just Heinz ketchup. Anyways, we finished reviewing everything, and it's really loud now, so I'm gonna share final thoughts outside. All right, guys, so I just finished eating at Barberian Steakhouse, and yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I really did not think it was that great. I don't know, the steak just tasted really average to me. Like it tasted like an average steak that you could get from like the grocery store. I mean, it was prepared more or less pretty well. It had a great sear on it. You pay big bucks for the dry aging. You want to get it, first of all. And second of all, even if it's wet aged, I mean, I've had really good wet aged steaks, and yeah, this was not one of them. I mean, this tasted like a wet aged steak, but it did not taste like a very good one. It kind of just tasted like one from like the grocery store almost. It wasn't all bad. I liked the fries, I guess. I liked that little free pickled vegetables app, but yeah, overall, Barberian Steakhouse, yeah, for me, it didn't really live up to the hype. I felt like, I mean, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and I hope that they used to be better. I mean, this is like one of the most iconic steakhouses, not only in Toronto, but arguably the most famous steakhouse in all of Canada. And yeah, for me, it just did not live up to the hype at all. And I was pretty disappointed, to be honest. It did not compare to not only my favorite places in New York, it just did not compare to even average places in New York, in my opinion. So anyways, we're gonna hit the road now. I'm gonna look for my Airbnb and call it a night. Every time you have steak for dinner, it's always a good night. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have been to Barberian Steakhouse before. Let me know if you think it lives up to the hype. Let me know if you think it compares to the best steakhouses you've had. Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. And as always, if you like my content, like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. So gonna find my lodging for the night and call it a night here in Toronto. So until next time, I'll see you later.